Hello, welcome to IELTS Resource Center podcast, where we dive deep into the world of IELTS preparation. I am Mr. George, your host, and I'm thrilled to bring your essential tips, strategies, and expert advice to help you reach your desired IELTS score. Today, I will be bringing to you interactive learning experience from IELTS Resource Center online coaching session. Stay tuned.
Okay, so you're prepping for the IELTS reading section.
Yeah.
And those matching information questions, they're kind of tricky, right?
Yeah, they can be a bit of a headache.
But don't sweat it. In this deep dive, we're going to break down a super effective strategy from IELTS expert Mr. George at the IELTS Resource Center.
Oh, Mr. George, he's fantastic.
He really is.
Yeah.
His teaching style, it's so clear, and he's helped so many students achieve amazing results.
Plus, to make things even more interesting, we're going to follow the journey of Oluwaseun.
Right. Oluwaseun is a student in Nigeria who's using Mr. George's method to prepare for the exam.
So we'll get to see how these strategies work in a real-life scenario.
Exactly. So our mission today is threefold.
Threefold.
Well, first, we're going to decode what matching information questions are all about using Mr. George's straightforward language.
Then we'll walk you through his 6 steps to success so you can tackle these questions with confidence.
And finally, we'll explore the difference between matching information and matching headings.
Ah, yes, that's a common point of confusion.
It really is.
Yeah.
But by the end of this deep dive, you'll be able to tell them apart like a pro.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's start with the basics. What are matching information questions?
Well, basically, you'll be given a passage. Sometimes it's a long one.
Yeah, those passages can be intimidating.
And you'll also get a set of statements, each containing specific details about the passage.
And your task, to match each statement to the correct paragraph where that information is found.
It sounds simple enough, right? But there's a catch.
What's that?
Paraphrasing Mr. George emphasizes that the IELTS loves to paraphrase information.
So you won't necessarily see the exact words from the statements repeated in the passage?
Exactly. You have to look for synonyms, rephrased expressions, things like that.
And of course, there are always distractors lurking about.
Those pesky distractors designed to throw you off track.
So how do we navigate this tricky terrain?
Well, that's where Mr. George's 6 steps come in.
Those 6 steps, they're like a roadmap to success.
Absolutely. They break down the task into manageable chunks, making it much less overwhelming.
All right, so let's dive into those steps. Step number 1, read the instructions carefully.
This might seem obvious, but Mr. George really stresses this point.
Why is that so important?
Because the instructions tell you crucial information, like whether you can use an answer more than once.
Oh, right. That can make a big difference in your approach.
And knowing the number of statements and paragraphs from the get-go helps you manage your time effectively.
So it's like setting the stage for a smooth and successful performance.
Exactly. No more wasted time wondering if you missed something crucial.
Now on to step 2, skimming.
Ah, skimming, a classic IELTS strategy.
And Mr. George is a big advocate of this.
He believes that getting a quick overview of the passage is key.
It's like creating a mental map of the terrain before you start exploring.
Exactly. You want to understand the main idea of each paragraph without getting bogged down in the details.
And to make this even more effective, Mr. George suggests something really clever.
What's that?
Jotting down super short notes next to each paragraph.
Oh, that's a great tip. Like little reminders to help you remember what's where.
Precisely. Something like paragraph A discusses challenges in Nigerian agriculture.
These little notes can be lifesavers when you're trying to recall what you read.
It's like creating your own personalized guide to the passage.
I love that idea. Okay, so we've skimmed the passage and we have our handy notes.
What's next?
Step 3, analyze the statements.
Those statements, they hold the key to finding the right matches.
And Mr. George encourages us to treat them like clues
How so?
by underlining the key words in each statement.
Like those words that really capture the essence of what the statement is saying.
Exactly. He uses a fantastic example. Describes a species that adapted to urban environments.
So in that statement, you'd underline species, adapted, and urban environments.
Right. You want to focus your attention on the most important elements, the core information.
Okay, keywords underlined. We're ready to move on to step 4, scanning the passage.
This is where the hunt for information begins.
We're armed with those keywords, and we're ready to find their counterparts in the passage.
But here's where things get a bit tricky. Remember those paraphrases we talked about?
Oh, right. Those sneaky synonyms and rephrased expressions.
Exactly. You can't rely on finding exact word matches.
So we need to be flexible and adaptable in our thinking.
Mr. George gives a perfect example. If your statement says species that adapted,
The passage might say animals that evolved to survive in cities.
exactly. The meaning is the same, but the wording is different.
It's like a game of hide and seek. But we're starting to learn the rules.
Absolutely. And with practice, you'll become a master at spotting those paraphrases.
So we've scanned the passage. We think we've found a match based on a keyword. But hold on, there's a crucial step 5, verification.
Verification, this is where Mr. George's emphasis on accuracy really shines through. Yeah, you might think you found the right paragraph.
But
Hold on, Mr. George warns us about partial matches.
partial matches,
Yeah, you gotta make sure that the entire statement is reflected in that paragraph.
and not just a part of it.
Right, it's all about accuracy. Making sure that the entire statement aligns with the information in the paragraph.
It's like putting together a puzzle.
Exactly.
You have to make sure all the pieces fit perfectly.
You can't just force them in.
Okay, so we verified the match.
What's next?
The final step. Step 6, marking your answer.
This seems simple enough.
It does. But Mr. George stresses the importance of clarity and organization.
So how do we do that?
Write the paragraph letter next to the statement number.
Makes sense.
And before you move on to the next statement.
Take a moment to double check your reasoning
Right, it's better to catch a mistake early on.
than when you're running out of time.
Exactly. Now let's see all of this in action with Oluwaseun. Remember her?
Our Nigerian student?
Yes. She's practicing matching information using a passage about agriculture in Nigeria.
Okay.
First, she skims the 4 paragraphs.
Just like Mr. George advises.
So as she skims paragraph A, it jumps out at her. It talks about those serious challenges facing Nigerian agriculture. Things like outdated farming practices and those unpredictable weather patterns that can really impact harvests.
Right. Then paragraph B shifts to a more positive note.
Yeah, it highlights the benefits of new technologies and government
Air
initiatives.
stitches.
Well, it mentions modern irrigation systems, for example.
Oh, so farmers can grow crops year-round.
Exactly. Then we move on to paragraph C, which focuses on cassava.
Cassava.
It's a staple crop in Nigeria,
Ah, I see.
but unfortunately it suffers from pests and diseases.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is. But the paragraph does mention that scientists are working hard to develop resistant varieties.
That's good news.
And lastly, paragraph D zooms in on the cocoa industry.
Cocoa.
Yes, Nigeria is a major cocoa exporter.
Interesting.
But the paragraph explains how factors like global competition and price fluctuations can make it a tough business for farmers.
Okay, so Oluwaseun has a good understanding of the main ideas in each paragraph.
Now she's ready to tackle the 4 statements she needs to match to these paragraphs.
Okay, bring on the statements.
The first one says, describes how irrigation has helped Nigerian farmers.
Irrigation and helped farmers.
Those are the key words.
And because of that clever skimming she did earlier?
She remembers that irrigation was mentioned in paragraph B.
Oh, what about those advancements in agriculture?
A quick scan confirms that yes, it talks about how irrigation has empowered farmers to overcome the challenges of inconsistent rainfall.
Perfect, that's a match.
And that's a perfect example of how Mr. George's skimming technique pays off.
It really does make a difference.
Statement 2 reads, mentions a major crop affected by pests.
Major crop and pests. Those are our keywords.
This time they lead Oluwaseun straight to paragraph C.
Where cassava and its battle with pests were discussed.
Another match made in heaven.
Oluwaseun is on a roll.
All right, statement 3 throws a curveball. It says, explains how global competition impacts farmers.
This one's a bit trickier.
But Oluwaseun stays calm. She underlines global competition and impacts farmers.
And,
Her mind goes back to paragraph D, the one about cocoa exports.
ah,
And there it is. That paragraph clearly explains how competition from other cocoa-producing nations affects Nigerian farmers.
3 down, 1 to go.
The final statement is, highlights the challenges of unpredictable weather. What do you think?
Well, challenges and unpredictable weather, those are our key clues.
Oluwaseun remembers that paragraph A focused on the difficulties of Nigerian agriculture.
And a quick scan reveals the section about unpredictable rainfall being a major problem for farmers.
4 for 4. Oluwaseun has successfully matched all the statements to the correct paragraphs.
Using Mr. George's method, of course.
It's really inspiring to see it all come together like that.
It really is. It proves that having a clear strategy and applying it diligently can make a world of difference.
But now let's shift gears a bit.
Okay, where are we going now?
We promised to shed light on the difference between matching information and matching headings.
Ah, yes, and another question type that often causes confusion.
It really does.
Yeah.
And this is where Mr. George's expertise truly shines.
How so?
He explains that while both question types involve matching,
their focus is quite distinct.
exactly, matching headings is all about pinpointing the main idea of a paragraph
It's like finding the perfect title for that section.
that captures its essence.
Yeah, it's more about understanding that big picture rather than those specifics.
So it's like looking at a map to get your bearings.
Exactly.
Whereas matching information, as we saw with All of Us Soon, it's all about those specifics.
Right, you're searching for those precise details, those facts, those examples hidden within the text.
It's like using a GPS to find a specific address.
Exactly.
And to illustrate this, Mr. George gives another brilliant example.
Oh, I love his examples. They're always so clear.
Imagine you have a paragraph that explains how solar panels are becoming more affordable.
Okay.
A matching information statement might say, describes the affordability of solar energy,
So the heading captures the general topic.
while the statement hones in on a specific point within that topic.
I'm starting to see the distinction more clearly now.
Me too. It's all about the level of detail.
And Mr. George summarizes these differences beautifully in a comparison table he created.
Oh, right. I've seen that table. It's super helpful.
He points out that matching headings relies heavily on skimming for the main idea.
While matching information requires more detailed scanning for specific information.
And he also notes that matching headings can be faster,
If you're a good skimmer.
but matching information can take a bit longer because you're searching for those precise details.
It's all about strategy and knowing what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Now that we've explored both question types,
What are Mr. George's top tips for tackling each one effectively?
for matching headings, he really emphasizes looking for those topic sentences.
The ones that usually sum up the main point of a paragraph?
And he reminds us to ignore those tempting minor details.
Right, those details that can distract us from the big picture.
It's like that saying, focus on the forest, not the trees.
Exactly. And for matching information.
Mr. George's advice is to be systematic and thorough.
So read those statements carefully.
Underline those all-important keywords.
And then scan the passage for synonyms or rephrased expressions.
And of course, always be on the lookout for those sneaky distractors.
It's like having a mental checklist to keep you on track.
Mr. George, he's really thought of everything, hasn't he?
He really has. His clear explanations and practical examples.
They make these potentially confusing question types seem much more manageable.
Absolutely. And seeing how Oluwaseun used his method to successfully answer those questions.
It was really inspiring.
It really shows that with the right strategy and focused practice.
Anyone can improve their ability to tackle these challenging question types.
So there you have it, our deep dive into the world of matching information and matching headings on the IELTS reading test.
Guided by the wisdom of Mr. George.
And brought to life through Oluwaseun's journey.
We hope you feel empowered and ready to take on these question types with renewed confidence.
Remember, you have the tools, the strategies, the knowledge.
Now it's all about putting them into practice and believing in yourself.
And as you continue your IELTS preparation,
We encourage you to think about this.
what other techniques or strategies can you use to stay calm, focused, and confident during the reading test?
Especially when faced with those tricky question types.
Don't underestimate the power of a positive mindset.
Until next time, happy studying.
And may your IELTS scores reach new heights.
Achieve your IELTS goals with Mr. George. Get ready for IELTS success with personalized guidance from Mr. George Expert Coaching at IELTS Resource Center. With years of experience and passion for teaching, they provide tailored strategies, practical exercises, and real-time feedback to help you reach your target band score. Subscribe now to access exclusive materials, personalized coaching, and flexible online sessions that fit within your schedule. This is your chance to learn from the best and confidently for every session of the IELTS exam. For more information, call or WhatsApp us at 09052964864 or 07083458307.